What's going on, y'all? GemMint here with today's new comic book day reviews for Wednesday, December 7th, and I'm excited, man. We got a lot going on. I'm pretty confident by the next new comic book day reviews, I'll be doing the video from the main basement area. It's almost wrapped up. We also did hit that 10,000 follower milestone over on Whatnot. We're giving away this sealed PlayStation 5 this Sunday during our Sunday live stream, which will stream on YouTube and on Whatnot like we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. But I am going live tonight as well at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern for Whatnot Wednesday. I read 29 comics this week, so we got a lot to get through. Let's start with Marvel Comics with Thanos Death Notes. Read this before you read Thor, and you're going to want to read both. I thought they were good issues. Thor is now being written by Grutenbeck. The Thanos Death Notes is by Cantwell, Straczynski, Starks, DeVito. They had a bunch of little short stories in this Thanos Death Notes, but it's picking up where Thor had that vision of Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, with the Black Gauntlet, wielding Mjolnir. So we're kind of getting the storytelling that's leading up to that. We're getting that in Thanos Death Notes, and we're also getting that in Thor 29, which, like I said, is by Grutenbeck, Klein, and Wilson. So Thor trying to seek out what's causing these visions, like trying to basically pick at straws to figure out how Thanos ends up becoming alive again and how he ends up creating all these zombies from the Marvel superheroes and wielding that gauntlet, like I said, looking for the Black Infinity Stone and introducing Bor, Odin's father, into the mix here. I'm going to miss Donny Cates on Thor. I really like the ideas and the big epic events, but I'm kind of digging where Grutenbeck has been going with this story so far. All right, we got some Spider-Man stuff to get into. We have Dark Web issue 1, the Spider-Man event, which is Ben Reilly and Madeline Pryor versus Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and the X-Men. It's by Zeb Wells, Adam Kubert, and Frank Martin. Great artwork here. I like the evil Ben Reilly, and he's not just that he's Ben Reilly that went bad. Peter Parker has taken his memories, only giving him back certain Ben Reilly memories, which all seem to be negative ones. It's kind of feeling like a throwback to Inferno, the way that Madeline Pryor has summoned these creatures from Limbo onto the planet. They even reference it within the story, like the newscaster saying it's reminiscent to the Inferno event. I like where they're going with Dark Web. I'm into that. Not so much into this Spider-Man title. We're on issue 3 by Dan Slott, Mark Bagley, Del and Delgado. I mean, it's a good team, but this end of the Spider-Verse story, it's like the Spider-Verse story that we didn't need. I don't care about a million different Spider-Man and the web of the spider and Moreland and all that stuff. It just feels like an excuse to create all these new spider characters. I'm just not into it at all. In the last Spider-Man title, we have a new #1 for Miles Morales Spider-Man. This is by Ziegler, Vincentini, and Valenza. So they definitely go like Zoomer with the lingo here, which I'm kind of hip to. I have teenagers. I still think I'm a teenager in my mind. So the dialogue is definitely hip. Miles Morales kind of trying to recapture that lightning in a bottle with Peter Parker, the thought of having a teenager superhero who has problems. Miles Morales can't really cope with all the pressures of life, juggling being Spider-Man, going through a breakup, doing bad in school, being late for school, those kind of things. So it feels like they're trying to, like I said, capture that essence of Peter Parker. He has this battle against Scorpion here, and then he also goes up against some other character. I don't even know who it was. He kind of loses his cool a little bit. I'll stick with it to see where issue 2 goes. It felt like we were in very familiar territory, just like with an updated 2023, this is mid kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you get out of Miles Morales. Secret Invasion 2 is here. I like the direction of this series, kind of visiting that Skrull invasion world. This is by North, Mobili, and Belair. Maria Hill has to come up with a new tactic to help determine who is a Skrull and who's not. They no longer can use the weapon designed by Reed Richards, which pinpoints who they are. The Skrulls have adapted. So there's this new way via blood, and I'm not going to spoil it. One of the Marvel heroes was a Skrull, so that kind of becomes a thing. So I like Secret Invasion. I recently read the omnibus front to back. Kind of cool to revisit that world, gearing up for the show. Makes sense. Then we have Fantastic Four issue 2 by North as well. Coelho and Albertov. Beautiful Alex Ross cover. Now, I almost forgot what Fantastic Four 1 was about. I was like, issue 2, what the hell was Fantastic Four 1? Because it was that Thing story. Now this is a Reed and Sue Richards story. Kind of similar. They're in this village. They end up here, and all the village ends up being Doombots. but it's actually really touching, and it kind of shows a little compassion for Victor Von Doom and the way they handle the whole Doombot situation in this town that was overrun by them, but it's not what it seems. I thought it was cool, and I guess the next issue is Human Torch, so that's how they're attacking this series so far. Moving on over to Daredevil issue 6, Chip Zdarsky, De La Torre, and Wilson. So I like where they're going with this here. Daredevil and Elektra as Daredevil. They're running this new organization. Elektra's off doing some recon, trying to see if the Hand has infiltrated the highest levels of government, while Matt Murdock is trying to reform prisoners. He was in prison. He did his time, but he's realizing that prison doesn't work. They're trying to reform these criminals out in the open, out where the wind from the sea can slap their face and can train them and use them as part of their cause. I kind of like it. It ties in with what's going on with the Punisher. It's almost like Daredevil is trying to build this army to combat the Hand. I don't want to say almost, that is what he's doing. Speaking of Punisher, we're on issue 8 by Jason Aaron, Saez, Asensa, and Stewart. I love this run, man. I get the criticisms, but I just don't care. I think it's a really deep, dark Frank Castle story. They retcon some of his younger days. They really shine a light on how he was coming back from the war and how it was a strain on his relationship. And then flash forward to the future, he is the Beast. Feed him rappers or feed him beats. No, but seriously, he's basically going to go toe-to-toe with Ares, the god of war. He has become godlike in himself with the Beast. Now, we know he has his own plans that aren't in line with the Hand, and he's going to, have to betray them, I guess you can say that. He's got his own little covert group of ninjas that are hand selected. The stuff with Maria, not Maria, is his wife named Maria? I think it is. The stuff with her is crazy touching, and some scenes are really compassionate, man, where he's like putting his finger along her bullet wounds and trying to tell her everything's going to be okay, but it's like, dude, when is it going to be okay? It's a deep issue. Chugging along to Ghost Rider, we're on issue 9. Benjamin Percy, Smith Jr., and Valenza. I love this series. It's the most horror series that Marvel's doing right now. They take their time to express this with the artwork. It's got that very macabre feel to it. I like this big, what do you even call it? It's like a big train Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider running along with his protege. I forget who the girl is, to be honest. But basically trying to do what Ghost Rider does. Save innocents, punish sinners, find the source of this evil, these 5 points that make a pentagram on the country. So he's riding the highway to hell, as it were, to combat these forces. Digging this series. I'm reading 2 X-Men books, and y'all, I'm really close to just dropping them both, to be honest. X-Force 35. I'm up to 35 issues on X-Force. That's crazy. Benjamin Percy. I like Benjamin Percy. Allen, Salazar, and Lopez, and it looks like Beast is finally going to have to answer to all this crazy stuff he's literally been doing since Hoxpox. We know that he was up in an Orcus Forge type of spacecraft, basically experimenting on prisoners, a secret prison, aside from the exile type of prison they have on Krakoa. So like I said, it seems like that may all come to light here soon. Am I interested to see where that goes? I guess not really. X-Men Red's here. I really like X-Men Red. It's issue 9. It's by Al Ewing. You have Caselli and Blee. We are post the death of Magneto here and the rise of Vulcan, the third Summers brother. I kind of dig that stuff. It's giving me War of Kings vibes coming back. Him going to the Shi'ar, confronting Gladiator, confronting Nova Prime. Very cool resurrection when it comes to Vulcan and how that all went down and how he kind of took his memory back from Charles Xavier. It was pretty dope. You got Abigail Brand playing a major role in here, and they're trying to prevent this intergalactic war that they may have caused by the resurrection of Vulcan. All right, guys, on to Dynamite. We have Gargoyles, issue number 1, and they put the creators on the cover here, Weissman and Cambatis. Awesome cover by David Nakayama. So here's the thing. I've seen the Gargoyles animated series. I just wasn't one of those who was like a die-hard fan, so I couldn't tell you everything about the lore. What I will tell you is that reading this comic felt like I was watching the animated series. They throw you right into that universe. We're introduced by the human character who's in a relationship with the head gargoyle. We learn who everybody is, what their relationships are, what their powers are, and then kind of what the overall story is going to be. So you get a lot in this issue, which I was a little concerned with because the Ashcan was like 4 pages, no dialogue. This throws you right in the mix. It kind of reminds me of when you watch Batman by Tim Burton, how boom, you're just thrown in there and then you're just soaking everything up, looking around while you're reading this. I dug it. I'll read issue 2. Not a huge Gargoyles fan, but I am happy that Dynamite got this property, and they have a good issue with issue number 1. I'm also reading Vampirella vs. Red Sonja by Dan Abnett and Rinaldi. So it's kind of a misleading title. It's not really Vampirella vs. Red Sonja. It's Dynamite's version of Crisis on Infinite Earths, with Vampirella held prisoner, but she may be the only one who knows how to stop whatever's spreading throughout the multiverse and threatening the very existence of everybody. So it's kind of a misleading title, and the covers are a little misleading too. They're great Lucio Perillo covers, but it's very much like a fake Justice League, that they created all these new superheroes that are kind of the monitors of the multiverse. Red Sonja's in the mix, but like I said, we have this captive Vampirella who's probably going to be the key to everything. All right, guys, then Boom Studios has Behold Behemoth issue 2 by Tate Brombal and Nick Robles. So I really liked issue 1, but I think issue 2 did a great job of really fleshing out this world. It's really like the Western comic version of Attack on Titan. That's what I feel like when I'm reading this. The behemoths are kind of like the Titans, right? In issue 1, you kind of get an idea that the man on the cover, the older brother, is the behemoth, but there's a slight twist in this issue here. I like the supernatural heaven and hell, death and alive vibes, mixing it with like that Attack on Titan vibe. I was digging it. And a new number 1 from Boom Studios, Know Your Station. This is by Sarah Gailey, Liana Kangas, and Rebecca Nalty. I really like this series. So you're in outer space, you're in this ship, everything is futuristic and new, but there's been a homicide. So gruesome that they called somebody from Earth to come investigate it, and that doesn't really go so well from them. We're focused around this main character. She feels real. Like the way that they write her, it feels like a real person, and she's not really sure if she's the one responsible for these murders or not. She has to take like this blue, it's kind of like a shot when you had like a rough long day at work to kind of pep you back up. The AI companion is kind of quirky and fun. It's a serious read, and it's got some nice ideas. I really liked it. And then let's jump into DC Comics. So Batman is here with issue 130, the Failsafe finale by Chip Zdarsky, Jorge Jimenez, and Maury. I love this issue. I mean, Batman falling from the moon to Earth was crazy. The artwork was amazing. I loved the Failsafe stuff. This robot that Batman created, literally the Failsafe if any of the Justice League members, including himself, got out of line. This is the finale, and it ends in a weird space. I'm not really sure how it ended or what that's going to lead to into the next arc, but I'm here for it. Chip Zdarsky killing it on multiple publishers this week. We've got Gotham City Year 1, issue number 3 by Tom King. He's joined by Phil Hester, Eric Gapster, and Jordi Belair. So here's the thing. I mean, there's criticisms because they kind of make Bruce Wayne's, I don't want to say kind of, they make Bruce Wayne's either grandfather or great-grandfather kind of a woman-beater racist. But besides that, I'm digging this story. It's very much like a crime noir story. It's written well. It's interesting. It flows. Even though there's no superhero action whatsoever, there's no Batman going on here. It's just a crime story set in the, what, it's got to be in the 30s or 20s or something like that. So it shines Bruce's ancestors in a bad light, but it's been a good read so far, man. Issue 3, I'm down. Got a couple Joker books. We'll start with Joker, The Man Who Stopped Laughing, issue 3. This is by Rosenberg, Di Giamencio, Francavilla, and Prianto. So this is a good series. I'm a little bit confused on what's going on here because you have like Joker that came back from the whole Gordon Joker run, and there's this other Joker that's running amok throughout all the big cities, all the big territories, and this Joker is just going through it, man. He's literally just getting shot at and being operated on in the hospital during this issue, but great scenes in that hospital and how he gets them to patch him up. Very Joker-like. I thought it was kind of creepy and sadistic, and it was fun. Then we have Batman and the Joker Deadly Duo. So this is the other Joker book. Mark Silvestri kills it on the artwork here. It's got a very scratchy, gritty type of line style. Coloring is great as well. You have Arf Prianto on here. So Batman teaming up with Joker because there is this horde of what feel and seem like Joker clones that are like feral and beastly, and Batman is forced to team up with the Joker because he has Jim Gordon hostage. I mean, they even send his severed finger to Gotham City PD. So intense issue, great artwork here, interesting story. I like the little Joker Batman team up, and it's funny because I just got done reading the Absolute for Dark Knight's Metal, and they had to team up in there. Then we have a one-shot for Dark Crisis. This is the War Zone with a ton of creators, and y'all, it's an easy skip. There's like 4 or 5 stories in here. They're all big brouhahas. A Green Lantern battle, a Wonder Woman battle, a Flash battle, which was actually the best story in here, with Iris and Linda, kind of the Flash significant others, holding their own during the big battle versus the Dark Army. But I think it's an easily skippable one-shot. It doesn't really accomplish anything, in my opinion. And then we're going to move on over to Image, y'all. So we have All Against All. This is a new #1. It's by Packendale, Wingard, and Oatsmain Elhow. So issue 1 of 5. This is a crazy story. Like, look at the cover. So you have like a Tarzan type of character here. The premise is aliens are experimenting with life forms on Earth in a post-apocalyptic world. So they're kind of messing with animal life. They're bioengineering things. And then there's this one secret that the rest of the alien species don't know about, which I don't really want to give away, but it has a very like a flashy art style. It almost reminds me of like a David Mack, like he's the cover artist, but like doing interiors, the way that the art is very splashy. And the color palette is like this light type of pastel palette. I dug it. I think it's going to be an interesting little 5-issue miniseries. We have Bloodstained Teeth, issue 7, Christian Ward, Patrick Reynolds, Heather Moore, and Hassan Oatsmain Elhow as well. I love this series. This is like prime for a television show or for some type of movie. The dialogue, the characters, they feel real. We're still just following this vampire who's been transforming humans for whatever money he was able to get out of them. Now he's forced to kill them. They're called Sips. They're not full-blown true bloods or pure bloods or whatever you want to call them. And we're getting a glimpse of like who is in charge of the vampire nation and how he only speaks to like a consigliere. Pretty dope stuff. Like I said, this would be a great series. It also has a really good art style, more so the color palette. I always want to call it like an Art Deco style. So if you look at the cover, like how the graffiti on the wall is and like the red ground, like that's kind of how the book feels. And also the main guy, I just want to add to it. It's almost like he's got to rob Peter to pay Paul in trying to hunt down these Sips. He got his hand cut off last time, so he can't really kill these vampires that he created with one hand. So now he's got to take money to turn another human into a Sip in order to get his hand back, but now he's got an extra person to kill. He's kind of got like this rabbit hole that he's gone down. All right, guys, then we have a new #1 from Image, Hexware by Tim Seeley, Scotto, and Lavina. This one wasn't really for me, man. This was like androids that practice witchcraft. I mean, look at the cover, too. You see the pentagram. This character is some type of robot. It went over my head, man. I wasn't really feeling it. It wasn't for me. If you read Hexware and you liked it, you got to sell me on it. I didn't get it. Little Monsters is here with issue 8. Jeff Lemire and Justin Wynn. I really like this now, man. They're kind of giving us more backstory. What happened that led us into this post-apocalyptic world? How did these little children become vampires? How long have they been vampires? And giving us a glimpse into the first child vampire's life prior to whatever happened. It's a black and white story. It has splashes of red when it comes to blood, which they have its fair share of. But I really like this series. I didn't like it at first. It really had to grow on me. Noctera's here with another one-shot. This is the Val special by Scott Snyder, Tony S. Daniel, and Francis Manipul. I feel like there's too much time in between issues of Noctera. These one-shots have been great chances and opportunities to really do some world building and give us a glimpse into the world of Noctera. This one is called The Ferryman. So the Ferryman is like from mythological lore of the death on the canoe that brings the souls across the sea of the dead or what have you, sea of sorrows, sea of souls. I don't know, but it's kind of a parallel with the truck drivers that courier people from one place to the other. How they soup up the truck with the lights and try to get through all the shades from to get to their location. It was a nice little one-shot. It didn't feel like a useless one-shot like the Dark Crisis, so I enjoyed the Noctera Val special. Seven Sons is here with issue 7. Robert Wyndham, Kelvin Mao, Jay Lee, and June Chung. So, I don't know if this series is really for everybody. It plays on a lot of religious aspects. You have Delph. He's one of the clones of Jesus Christ. He's thought to be dead. They're trying to coronate one of his siblings, but Delph makes it known that he's not dead and kind of proves himself as like the one true successor of Jesus Christ in this issue. A lot goes on. Personally, I think it's interesting. I don't know that it's for everybody. but I'm interested to see where they take this story. Spawn is here with issue 336 by Rory McConville and Carlo Barberi. So I really like this issue, man. They did a lot of fleshing out of Cagliostro, and I love how they tied this in with Cain and Abel, with the first Hellspawn and the first Redeemer. And it's like everything is coming full circle with that story here. Great artwork here, really utilizing all these characters, whether it's Overkill, whether it's Cygor, Jim Downing, the guy that became Spawn for those few issues, Medieval Spawn, and of course Spawn himself. Still with the dead zones, getting closer to a resolution here, it seems though, so I'm on board for that. And now, guys, on to the gem of the week. But before we get into it, mystery mail call for the month of November. He has an exclusive for Ninja Funk issue 1 done by David Mack, who did the cover A. Also an exclusive for Demon Wars Shield of Justice #1, which is a Peach Momoko book. She did an exclusive for this box. You also get comics at random. There is an Amazing Spider-Man 20 first appearance of Scorpion that will be in one of these boxes. Plus you have a kid's comic from Scoot with a cover homage by Nate Made It. Go to ComicTime101.com right now and sign up for the mystery mail call. All right, guys, there were some close calls. I really like Dark Web. I mean, that's right up my alley. But when I think of the best comic book, the one that hit the hardest, it's got to be Do a Powerbomb issue 7 by Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer. How do you top issue 6? Where the protagonists go up against the antagonists and we have a big final battle? Well, you have them wrestle against God himself, the creator, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, and it was epic and touching and heartfelt. The action scenes throughout this whole series make you feel like you're watching wrestling on TV. It feels like the movement is in real time when you're just reading it on a page. The fight scenes are amazing. The story is super touching with this girl and her father literally wrestling for the soul of their mother and wife to be resurrected. And it has a nice conclusion here. This is the last issue. I feel like they stuck the landing. Not even a huge wrestling fan, but I am a huge fan of Do a Powerbomb. I think they killed it on all angles here. Beautiful comic. And those are the comics for this week, man. Let me know what your favorites were in the comments down below. Hope to catch you later on Whatnot today and also on Sunday when we're giving away that PlayStation 5. Stay minty fresh, y'all. Peace.